You're not lazy, you're just really, really good at bullshitting yourself. So let me start this off with a confession. There was an Olympic medal for thinking about getting your life together. I'd have been on the podium winning gold years ago. Gold medal, national anthem, mum crying in the stands. Because I never lacked ambition, I lacked follow through. And if that line stings, good. Because it means that you recognise it in yourself too. And this video is probably going to be one of the most life-changing videos you ever watch. Because you look fine from the outside, but you feel like a fraud. From the outside, looking in, you're doing all right. You work, you function, you're not a mess. You're not living on some sofa in a crack house. You're not calling your mum crying every night about how shit your life is. But inside, you feel like you're wasting your own potential with surgical precision. It's not extreme crashing, not failing, just stalling. You know that feeling when somebody asks you, so what are you up to nowadays? And you give some sort of vague answer like, yeah, I'm living the dream, and it kind of sounds confident enough, but feels hollow and empty as soon as it leaves your mouth. Yeah, that one. I know I've been guilty of that one in the past, but there's a special kind of shame that smart men carry. Because here's the truth that most people don't talk about. You're not ashamed because you're doing badly. You're ashamed because you know you could be doing so much better and you're just not. And that's a different flavour of pain that leaves a sour taste in your mouth. It's not desperation, it's disappointment in yourself. That kind that doesn't just scream, it just sits there quietly while you doom scroll and distract yourself and tell yourself that you're going to start soon and lock in and take life seriously. But soon is doing a lot of heavy lifting in your life, by the way. And that heavy lifting just gets heavier and heavier until you can't lift it anymore because you don't have a motivation problem. You've got a pattern. So let's kill another lie while we're at it. You don't lack motivation, you get motivated all the time. New routines, new ideas, new plans, new YouTubers telling you to lock in and how to live your life like I'm doing right now, as a matter of fact. And you feel fired up for about 24 hours. Then life happens, work happens, mood drops, energy dips, something makes you feel like shit, and suddenly you're resetting again next week, again. That's not a motivation issue. That's a self-trust issue. Because your nervous system has learned something very specific about you. That he talks big, starts strong, then quietly lets himself off the hook and falls off. So when you try to get disciplined, part of you doesn't even believe it anymore. And that part of you is the part of you that's going to make stuff happen in your life. And honestly, that's fair enough. Because the brutal truth is why you keep consuming content in the first place. Here's where I'm probably going to annoy you and make you feel some type of way. You don't consume self-improvement content because you're improving. You consume it because it makes you feel like you're improving. That's just psychological deodorant, aftershave. You watch a video, nod along and think, yeah, that's me. And then for 10 minutes, that guilt in your head shuts up and silences. But every time you consume content without executing, something dangerous happens. Your standards rise, but your actions don't. And that gap creates anxiety. Anxiety turns into avoidance. Avoidance turns into numb scrolling, doom scrolling, and quiet resentment. And then you wonder why you feel stuck. But you're not stuck. You're just buffering. Because what's the most dangerous place a man can live? Because it's being in the worst possible position for long-term happiness. And it's not failing. It's not even succeeding. It's being comfortably satisfied with your average life. Things aren't bad enough to force any change, but they're not good enough to make you feel proud and excited. So you just stay exactly where you are. So you rationalise, you intellectualise, and you wait for a cleaner moment to commit and finally go all in, lock in. But a spoiler alert, that moment never arrives because life doesn't just hand you clarity, you earn it through action. So let's talk about the lie that you just keep on telling yourself. This one, I just need the right system, strategy, plan, and then I'm going to lock in and take life seriously and become this super millionaire of a six-pack. No, you won't. You've had plenty of plans, but what you have never had is an identity that you trust, because you don't need another tactic. You need to become the kind of man who does the boring, uncomfortable things without negotiating with himself. And let me tell you, that's not sexy, that's not viral, that's not really that inspirational, but I promise you it's effective and it compounds. And that's exactly why discipline feels so heavy to you, because you think discipline is punishment. So you treat it like, right, it's time to be hard on myself and do these hard things. And then no wonder you resist it. Real discipline is not about self-hate, It's about having self-respect. It's about saying, I'm worth structure. My life is worth order. My potential is worth committing and leveling up. And when discipline comes from that place, it stops feeling like something that you've got to force, and it starts feeling grounding, exciting. It starts bringing you a true level of peace. But here's the embarrassing truth about change. Here's something that nobody will warn you about. You won't have heard this before. The early phase of change in your life feels cringe. You feel dramatic, delusional. You feel like a knockoff version of someone better. You get that imposter syndrome, thinking, who the fuck are you? Because I remember thinking, who do I think I am, talking about discipline when my life was a mess, when I was addicted, when I was 20 grand in debt, when I couldn't go a day without cocaine or ketamine. That feeling doesn't mean you're fake. It means you're just early. And every competent, successful man you admire once felt like an imposter who hadn't earned it yet. But the difference is, they just didn't stop and they kept going. So here's why staying the same should scare you more than changing ever should. So let me ask you something, honestly. If you live the exact same way for the next 12 months, same habits, same routines, same excuses, same coping mechanisms, will you respect yourself more, or will that quiet voice of self-disrespect and self-hatred just get louder? Because here's the reality that nobody spells out for you. Time doesn't expose people dramatically. It exposes them incrementally. 1 year of delay doesn't ruin your life. 10 years does, but that 10 years creeps up on you bit by bit. So what actually changes a man like you? It's not hype. It's not motivation. It's not some big emotional breakthrough. What changes you is daily proof that compounds, and then you begin to trust yourself again. That's it. Small actions every day, especially when you don't feel like it. Not for the results, but for the identity it creates up here. That's why I've built my Become Unfuckwithable system the way I did. Not to impress anybody, but to work even when the motivation disappears. The same system that I use with my private clients. The same structure that rebuilt my discipline, my body, and my mind. That's what the free Become Unfuckwithable blueprint is. The link's in the description. Go click it and download it. It's a starting point that doesn't rely on you having to feel ready. But here's why you're way smarter than you think, and why it's actually a problem. Because you're intelligent, which means you're excellent at explaining things away. You can rationalize why today wasn't the right day, why your situation's unique, why you'll start properly next week. But you don't need more insight. You need less tolerance for your own excuses. And that's not self-hatred. That's just raw, real, radical honesty. But what really happens when you actually commit and lock in? Here's the anticlimactic truth. When you start executing daily, your life doesn't magically explode. What happens instead is you feel calmer, you sleep better, your head gets quieter, you stop hating yourself and doubting yourself so much, then momentum starts to build bit by bit by bit, and people respond differently, opportunities appear, confidence becomes quieter but stronger, and one day you realise that you're no longer asking yourself, can I do this? You're asking yourself, why did I wait so long? So if you're going to do something, do this. If this video has landed on you and you've been blessed by the algorithm today, you've got two options right now. Option number one, close this video, feel seen, do nothing and repeat the cycle. Option number two is interrupt the loop. Start by clicking the link in the description and getting the free Become Unfuckwithable blueprint. The same system I use with the private clients who come to me, who are ready to rebuild their discipline, their structure, stop self-sabotaging and start trusting themselves again. And if you want clarity fast, not in 6 months, that's what the Power Hour Breakthrough Call is for. One call, no fluff, no motivational shouting, just a clear, one-to-one, ruthless diagnostic and next steps. So here's the final truth with no sugarcoating. You're not broken, but you are running out of patience with yourself, else you wouldn't have clicked on this video in the first place. That's not a threat, that's an opportunity. You don't need to become somebody else. You just need to stop betraying the version of you that already knows better. This can be your year that you quietly rebuild your life and build momentum day after day after week after week after month, or it can just be another year that you explain away. That decision is already being made by what you do next. So choose carefully, and I'll see you in the next video. But don't bother clicking onto the next video if you're not going to get your free copy of the Become Unfuckwithable Blueprint. The link's in the description, there for you to download. It's changed my life and so many of my clients' lives. So I'll see you in the next video. Let's fucking go.